What we are going to do right now during this class is to use the implicit grant type and, of course, do any changes in our code in order to allow this. Now, the implicit grant type is very similar as we did in the previous class, but we don't have to do an additional step here. As you remember in the previous class, with the authorization code grant type, we need to obtain the authorization code, of course, and then with that authorization code obtain an access token. Well, with the implicit grant type, we don't need to do that. We just need to obtain an access token directly instead of obtain a code. So we don't need to obtain the access token directly after the code because we just need to obtain directly that access token and in fact any other information. But the access token is not part of the response because, well, there are some security concerns that we have to take very into account. The first one is that this implicit grant type does not require the client secret to validate the client credentials. It means that only need the ID of the client and the redirect URI. So if at some point anyone knows the ID of your client and the redirect URI, that in my opinion is information that is very possible to obtain in an easy way, you will be able to obtain access tokens, of course, after the authorization of the user. So that is a little security stuff, but it is not completely insecure. Of course, the user still need to allow or authorize the client, and additionally, you don't have a refresh token. So that means that every time that you need the access token again, you need to request again and again and again the authorization of the user. So once we have this completely clear, we just need to go first to our code in order to enable the implicit grant type directly in our auth service provider. And there, we are going to use a new method or passport called enable implicit grant. After this, we should be able to go to our browser, send a request to authorize, sending again the client ID, the redirect URI. Remember that it is localhost in our case. And the response type. That instead of code is going to be token. Then the user just needs to log in and authorize this. It seems like I have a little error here. I just missed to send the client ID, that is the number 6. Let's try again. And here we have. Now, the user just needs to authorize this. Here you can see the name of the client. That is a different security measure in order to allow to the user to know what real application is allowing. So then go to authorize. And as you can see, we have here the access token and in fact any others too. So let's copy all this and see this in our code editor. You can see here the access token, and at the end we have the token type and expires in time. So of course we just need the access token. So let's take this, and if we go to Postman and try to obtain, for example, the users, we can use this access token as usual for that. Of course, once this access token expires, we need to obtain a new one requesting the authorization from the user directly again. So please remember that this access token is only recommended for very specific type of clients for your RESTful API. If your RESTful API has clients that don't have a very secure way to store their credentials, so you probably need to allow this kind of grants type. In other case, just avoid it. Be a little more secure in this context. Once we have this clear and done, we can continue in the next class. So see you there.